How you doing? I'm Dave Reinhold. Welcome to the show. Today I want to show you guys how I set up my guide rails for doing using my TS55 track saw. You can use TS55, TS75, and also how I can set it up using the same rails and using the LR32 connector to space them out equally so all your holes line up when you're using your LR32 kit. First, we're going to jump off. I'm going to use two guide rails. I got a 55, the 1400 rail, and I got a 1080 rail. These ones happen to have holes just for the demonstration purposes. They can be used without the holes to set it up for just running the track saws on. First thing you need are two connectors that are sold separately. Two of the guide rail connectors are sold separately. We're going to put some annotations in here giving you the part numbers on what these actually are. Okay, and let's jump into it and show you how I set it up. First thing I do is I take the one, slide it in here, and I just kind of quickly tighten these down ever so slightly so it doesn't slide everywhere. Okay. And we're going to slide the top one in, and we can leave it loose because we can always handle it. I'm going to slide the other rail together. Boom. I'm making sure that the screws are kind of equally spaced, and I just grab my track saw and I just kind of lay it on here, and I want it to kind of help bridge it, make sure everything is kind of straight in line. And next we're going to grab 6-foot level. Make sure there's no kink in here. We're going to take all of it out. We're going to hold our rail really tight to the 6-foot level, making sure it's good. And we'll start snugging up these screws. 1, 2, we'll scooch it back. 3, 4. Don't crank them too hard, you'll dimple the rail. I found that out. And it's removing pretty smooth. We'll just remove this real quick. We're gonna flip the rail right over. Again, I use my 6-foot level, make sure everything is really nice. We just gotta center this a little bit better. Loosen it up. Center it. Make sure everything, can't stress this enough, you gotta keep checking that 6-foot level because the last thing you need is a little belly in on your cuts. Tighten these down. All good. Okay, I'm going to flip it back over. Last check I do, 6-foot level again. We're good and tight all the way down. Nice. And we're going to grab our 55, throw it on there. We're going to see it's moving nice and smooth. So I've been using this type of method, joining the rails, for quite a while. It works. It's nowhere near as fast as having a nice long 3000 rail. I have one of those and I keep it in my truck. It's just amazing. I don't have to worry about checking it. But if you're going back and forth to the job, you can throw them in your Festool bag. You can throw two 55-inch long rails in there. Throw the connectors in either the pouch or in your sustainer, and you can join rails together so you can cut down 8-foot sheets. It works. Just remember to check it every once in a while with this because you move it. Every once in a while you move it, they can go out, get a little belly in it. So just make sure every couple of cuts, when you're throwing a rail around, you're checking it with your 6-foot level, making sure it is nice and straight. That is key. And you should have no problems with it. So that's how I set it up. Two rails, join two rails together to use with the track saw. Now we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're going to space these so that I can use drill my holes for the LR32 hole drilling kit with the router. This time I'm just going to loosen these up, all 4 of them. Flip it over, loosen up this side. I always just find I loosen them all. It's better safe than sorry. Sometimes if you just loosen 2, you can just end up kinking it. And this way, everything can move nice and independently of each other. So we got them loose. You're going to use the LR32 connector, which I'll put another link down in our Be another little link in the video. And all you gotta do is you fit 2 of them to these holes, and it'll space your rail really nice. Fit in there really snug. Watch it. We're gonna line it up. Boom and boom. Still not in there. They're really snug. When you get it, you get it. Okay. That's spaced. We're going to use 6-foot level again. Hold, making sure it's hitting constantly across this whole rail. Make sure your connectors equally spaced on the rails, and it's fine to have that gap. That gap is totally normal. The rails are going to be spaced perfect for this. Do that. I'm going to make sure that's still snapped in there. I'm going to flip it over. You can see it's snapped in there. Again, throw the 6-foot level back there, making sure there's no little wobbles in there. Gently tighten these down. Okay. Take that out. Now we're perfectly spaced for the LR32 kit. All right, so I just grabbed the guide rail plate for the router to sit into. I don't have a router, but just for demonstration purposes only, we'll set that aside. Double check our rail is nice and straight against our 6-foot level. Toss that aside. And as you can see, this is all lined up perfect. And we're ready to rock and roll. I mean, you can just take, if you had your router in here, plunge it down, you're ready to go. It flows really nice and smooth right over that. Didn't skip a beat. It's catching all the holes. You just have to make sure you don't fall on that track. You don't want it to be, with this little arrow lined up in there, you're not in the right spot. So always kind of remember that when your rails are joined. You do not want to be there. You want to be before it. Skip over that. Next click. That's your hole that you want to be in for that 32 millimeters of spacing. And just keep on going. You can do nice tall built-in with the 2 rails. So super highly recommend if you need to buy an additional rail for your saw, even if you do not own the LR32 kit yet, pick up, the guide rail with the drilled holes in it. They're only, I think, $1 more or $2 more. And then if you ever end up adding this to your arsenal, you will already have a rail for it. So thanks for tuning in. You guys got to see that you need 2 connectors. Remember that. You need 2 connectors that come separately to attach your rails. And if you want to join them and get your 32 millimeter spacing, you will need this guide rail spacer. And it spaces them perfect every time. Just double, triple check everything, because it's nowhere near as accurate as owning a long rail, but we all can't have a long rail. 2 rails are much easier to transport, break down, bring to the job site, store. So if you have 2 rails, it can be done just as accurate. Just remember to double check everything. Use your 6-foot level every once in a while to make sure everything is straight, and you get really nice cuts and really nice straight inline shelf pin holes. All right, so you guys got to see me set up the 2 guide rails using the connectors, the Festool connectors for my track saw and for the LR32 kit. Super easy, breaks down, compact, small. I got 3 rails in here, and I'm gonna head on out of here. Talk to you guys soon. I'm Dave Reinhold. See you later.